Hey Ratbags, it's Jade. Last week I told you that patch 1.4.7 had been delayed and seemingly it might be weeks away. Well, guess what? Shock horror, the update's gone live for everyone. Xbox, PlayStation, Switch and PC. Now there's a whole bunch of quality of life fixes with new stuff added to the actual update that I showcased in the PTB a little while ago. So now this should be live for everyone. Restart your consoles if you don't see it immediately. Maybe you've been playing Grounded all day or it just needs a quick restart. So what's in this final update? Well, it does include more additions. They've added an AFK state to Grounded. Now when a player is inactive for 60 seconds, hunger and thirst is now reduced by 95% until the player returns. That's a pretty big in the game move for sure. Although I do question what's going to happen with the comfort levels. It's not like something anyone really remembers actually using. The whole point of the comfort system was to reward you with that kind of stuff when you're at home. It's meant to reduce that. So yeah, it's still an improvement though. Zipline speed boost when using the zipper. Zipline speed is now 50% faster. Gamepad movement, walking slower than sprint speed, no longer drains stamina. Natural Explorer mutation and Aphid Slipper speed boost now gives player their speed boost back immediately after combat. I really hope so, because this was still an issue in the latest PTB. I was randomly being slowed down just because I was switching to Natural Explorer. Lore Trap update now tracks all land creatures except stink bugs, green shield bugs or water creatures. They've buffed the pets. This was a big one, increased all pet health by 150%. This is obviously more important for players that play on WoW, since your pets can die in WoW mode, but they don't die in any of the others. Aphid pet buffs, reduce the stamina drain while sprinting by 30%, that's been increased by 10% from what it was. Increased player movement speed by 15%. Weevil pet buffs, reduced the first drain by 50%, that's a massive increase of 30 overall as it used to be 20, and they've reduced the hunger drain by 50% as well. Boss adjustments, the Mantis boss, the Scream attack can now be perfectly blocked. Some changes to the remixed yards, and this is kind of where this update's about. All armor can now be upgraded to level 15. Upgrade costs have been reduced by 40% since the last public test build. That is huge. It's just simply been so much of a grind. You never want to try out any of the new weapons because they still need to be a high level. And so using some of the special new jewels that you need to get in New Game Plus, it's just a pain in the butt. You end up just using the Sour Battle Axe, or I have at least anyway in my latest Let's Plays, because frankly there's just no reason for me to use a worse weapon, even if I want to experiment, because it's still not going to be as good damage. Now, with these reduced costs, that should be absolutely more something I can try. These are the upgrade stats So the upgrade stats are going to increase with each level for your armor. Level 10, 90% for defense and durability. Level 11, 115. Level 12, 140. Level 13, 165, level 14, 190, and level 15, 215 defense and durability added, meaning you should be able to confidently go a lot further in New Game Plus modes. Infusion attack damage, significantly reduced against buildings, helping in Java-matic and base defense battles. Killing the mini mantis no longer counts as killing the mantis for the remixer room door, only rewards 3000 raw science per kill. New custom game options, you can now adjust the remix level in survival mode. Find this in the start menu, game options, miscellaneous remix level, and the remix level now displays past level 10 in the same menu. And bear in mind, this will disable your achievements, well it should do, I do believe, so make sure you've got all the achievements that you want before maybe either making remix yards easier or harder. So there's been some sort of consternation about how much raw science is now going to drop. They did buff it, then they kind of nerfed it, and now it looks like they're stuck with what they're happy with. So you're going to get more raw science for each level of the remix yards that you complete. Infused creatures, the base reward of 3000 raw science has now increased by 10% per remix level. Boss rewards are now 12,000 raw science, increasing by 30% per remix level. Boss drops are at remix level 4 and higher. Bosses have a 30% chance to drop an extra infused ooze. Burgle quest and raw science pickup increase by 100% per remix level. So it's really going to pay to go and explore the full yard, get your milk molars and find all of the raw science that's out there. Infected Broodmother has separate scaling compared to other bosses. It's now going to reward a 40%. It's now going to reward 40,000 raw science reward, increases by 30% per remix level. That's crazy. Grounded just want everyone to be literally the best Grounded players ever. That is going to be the fastest way to pretty much grind raw science by looks of things. as long as you're good at perfect blocking. So they've got a new scaling system for creature damage. The old system, it would have 20% extra damage for all creatures every single remix level. Now though, it's going to start 20%, but it'll increase by larger amounts at higher levels. Level 1 was 20, level 2 was 40, level 3 was 60. Now it's going to be level 1 20, level 2 45, and level 3 75. So they've actually made it tougher. That's a bit of a weird one. Maybe this is in response to some of the actual buffs they've given to the modes over the last year. Maybe they feel it's still just a bit too easy. But man, I'm going to say it, I don't think I'm a fan of this. I can't really see why they've gone and added and adjusted it. It's grindy enough taking on all the regular bugs, let alone the infused ones. I don't know. You guys let me know. It's a small increase, especially at level 2, but suddenly jumping up to 15% extra at level 3, when most players are still complaining about getting one-shotted by infused creatures, that's a bit of an odd one. Barbarian mutation, perfect block windows have been increased by 60%. Apex Predator mutation now works with all infused boss weapons. And in Playgrounds mode, I showed you guys this in a bunch of videos, including all the rest of the stuff to be honest too. Story quests can now be enabled in Playgrounds mode. What this will mean is you can literally go and play certain Playgrounds maps if people create them, and people can make their own additional maps and DLC that's tied to the base game story. This is something I've always wanted to see, and it should mean that there's a lot more to do. Maybe someone's gone and just added extra creatures all over the place for the original story, or maybe just some extra rewards. There's so much potential for this, I can't wait to dive in a bit deeper. The backyard bosses can now be summoned at their boss arenas, but you won't actually see it until you push the game to go live and actually as a playground. Web sacks placed in design mode now spawn spiderlings and black widowlings. All place creatures and bosses can now have their stats customized. You'll be able to change the name, the size of them to mini, large, like I've shown you in so many of my little thumbnails. Increase the movement speed, the health of them, as well as what infusions they have. You'll also be able to just customize all weapons and armor with the same stuff. Name, increase how much it can be unbreakable or not, what kind of upgrade level it's got, how much damage it does, and any bonus effects like sleek or bulky, or any of the elemental stuff like mighty, fresh, salty, spicy and sour. You can also choose your playgrounds to have a remix level, so automatically if you start a new world, you can increase the level of difficulty of it from 1 to 10 if you're playing in a remix playground. There's a bunch of new tracks being added as well, as a whole ton of fixes. More fixes to stop pets from falling through the world and being lost permanently. Crashes that occurred when relocating ladders or using Shinobi Sneeze. A bug where achievements didn't proc correctly in shared worlds. Cupid arrows will no longer make the player invincible. If a creature under Cupid arrow effect is hit by the player, the effect disappears and the creature becomes hostile again. Salty weapons now properly turn underwater creatures into jerky. Ambassador and pets having the ambassador trinket with a pet no longer makes pets see you in anthills. Pet gnats won't stop following you if you bump into them, and they've improved some of the burgle quests that wouldn't complete properly. They should be fixed. Epic Burgle Quest 10 Mixologist now correctly asks for normal smoothies, and playground building fixes. Copying linked buildings now correctly inherits all links when changing the door variant. Antenna in the field stations no longer duplicate when re-entering design mode. Ant Queen gear summons now correctly aggro enemies on spawn. Burgle's spare eye spatulas now properly increase the crit rate of the Burgle's old flipper. In critical hit chance from final crit boost, effect can no longer stack infinitely. They fixed world issues as well, where players were falling out the world at the woodpile entrance. No, that was a cheese that you could get into the laboratory and even put a teleporter down so you could complete New Game Pluses much quicker. Various fire ant spawn issues fixed, and lots of UI and localization fixes. So there we go folks. I was expecting maybe a few more updates since they said that it was going to be delayed with some new extra stuff added. And sure, okay, there's a couple fixes there. But yeah, I know it might not seem exciting to some people. People just want new content. But Grounded isn't getting that. Grounded's done. We can only hope and wait and see when Grounded 2 is going to be released. And for now, the next best thing to having mods to increase the game's life is having improvements to the remix yard and stuff. People just need to buy into it, create some, and go and play some of these remix yards. The actual playground ones at least, a bit more. So I'm going to start thinking about that. I'm going to come up with an idea. Might get some friends to help me as well. Maybe build like a perfect story remix playground yard. Anyway, there you go. Enjoy it. I'll show some of this off in proper guides and stuff if it needed. but otherwise it looks like the ones I've already done showcasing the changes to pets and stuff is all going to be pretty valid. And just a little FYI, I am covering at the moment RuneScape Dragon Wilds. It's a brand new survival fantasy game. It is only on PC at the moment, but it's going to be coming to console in the future. It's pretty cool. It's like a cross between Enshrouded and Valheim. Definitely go and check out some more videos. And we're going to be doing lots of guides on it. But I will be returning. I've already got 2 episodes ready for my New Game Plus 2 walkthrough. So please show the love. Go and watch the first one I did. If you want me to return to Grounded, I need some love on some of these Let's Plays. Then I'll think about doing some refresh guides. Maybe some interesting more videos. Anyway, until next time, Ratbags. Laters!